Let me tell you a story that'll make you double-check your mailbox, your property lines, and your trust in anybody who shows up with a clipboard. Because what happened to me and my family wasn't just a bad run-in with a cranky neighbor. It was a full-blown war with a suburban empire that believed paperwork could beat property rights, and community standards was just another name for organized theft. I thought moving out to the North Georgia woods would mean peace, quiet, and a fence nobody could cross. Turns out, I'd underestimated just how far some people will go for a slice of control, and just how far I'd have to go to stop them. Let me back up a sec. I'm Sam Norton. I spent 2 decades designing homes I'd never live in, all glass towers and rooftop fire pits for people who barely noticed them. But when I finally scraped together enough to buy my own place, a timber-framed ranch on 12 acres, solar-powered, long porches overlooking the hills, I thought, that's it. That's the finish line. We moved in that spring, me, my wife Ava, our daughter Harper. Birds, wind, the smell of pine, nothing else. My driveway cut a half-mile through the trees before you even saw the gate. It was heavy metal, motion-activated camera, keypad, backup lock. Not cheap, but you only need one bad story to know what peace is worth. Across the road, downhill, there was Pine Vale Estates. Cookie-cutter brick houses, fake shrubs, the kind of place where the mailbox posts matched. I didn't think twice about it. My realtor swore I was outside their reach, outside any HOA, off-grid in spirit and law. I should have known better. About a month in, a letter arrived, certified, with a logo that looked like it belonged on an overpriced jar of mayonnaise. Pine Vale Estates Homeowners Association. I almost laughed until I read it. They demanded I unlock my gate and allow community security inspections on my property. According to them, all perimeter access ways had to remain unobstructed for safety audits. My cameras and locks, apparently, were violations of their policy. Their policy? On my land. Ava looked up from dinner prep, asked if they wanted to rename the forest after their dogs. I said, no, they want into our house. That night, I drafted a response. Firm, legal, attached all my deed and county map paperwork, copied to my attorney. Told them they had no authority here, and if they tried to access my property again, it'd be trespassing, plain and simple. I even installed a second, hidden camera for good measure. Thought that'd be the end. Maybe a grumble, maybe some passive-aggressive neighborhood watch note. What I got was way worse. Less than 24 hours later, my camera pinged. 2 men, HOA badges, polo shirts, one with a clipboard, one with a tablet at my gate. They tried the keypad, rattled the lock, took photos of the fence and the road. Didn't ring the bell, didn't leave a note, just strutted off like it was all routine. I called the sheriff. Deputy Ray Parsons, he said, introducing himself with mirrored shades and a practiced smirk. He acted like it was all just a misunderstanding, Karen's tight with procedures, and told me nothing criminal happened unless someone climbed the fence or forced entry. So, if I walk onto your land and take pictures of your kids' bikes, that's just a misunderstanding too? I asked. He just shrugged and left. Next week, Ava called me at work. Her voice was thin, scared. Sam, the gate is open. Not just unlocked. Open. Someone's in the house. I dropped everything and flew home, calling the sheriff and trying to convince myself it was nothing. But the camera feed showed 3 people in my driveway, then inside my house, photographing bookshelves, opening closets, tapping away at a laptop. I burst in, furious. They acted like they had every right. Compliance inspection, they said. For Pine Vale. You're trespassing. Get out. They left, unfazed, suggesting I should call the sheriff if I had a problem. When I reviewed my security logs, the truth was uglier. Someone with contractor-level access had remotely unlocked my gate using a code only available from the manufacturer's backend. The tech company's office was in the same business park as Pine Vale's management office. That was when I realized this wasn't some overzealous neighbor. It was strategic. It was organized. So I did what I do best. I went into architect mode, started gathering evidence, tracing every access, reviewing deeds and maps. And then, out of nowhere, an email from an address I didn't know that did it to me, too. Meet me at the fire road behind lot 74 at 3. Normally, I'd ignore it, but nothing was normal anymore. So I went. Nolan was waiting, old forestry worker, rough hands, folder thick with papers. He showed me his letters from Pine Vale, almost identical to mine. He'd lived there for nearly 40 years. When he fought back, they forged a consent form, claimed he'd voluntarily joined the HOA. It took months, but he beat them in county court, barely, because of an original deed with real signatures. He handed me a thumb drive from a whistleblower who'd quit the board. Inside, internal emails, expansion plans, and a list labeled Observational Register, a surveillance roster for non-compliant neighbors. My family was on it. Drones, logs, routines. They weren't just bullying us. They were building a case for hostile acquisition. That's when I knew this was a racket, and we were just next on the list. I looped to my attorney, Jonah. We dug through every file. Turns out, the HOA had prepared a forged contract showing I'd sold part of my land to them for $1. Their plan? File it with the county, slide my acreage into their boundary, and take it for community safety. We caught them just in time. And then, drama always likes to escalate. Karen Chaney, the queen bee herself, rolled up to my gate in a black SUV with a security guard. She wanted a conversation. She offered $150,000 to let Pine Vale integrate my property into their HOA. I laughed. She tried to bribe me after breaking into my home, after forging my name, after putting my daughter on a watch list. She got nasty, threatened legal action, handed me blueprints already showing my land as acquired. I told her flat out, I've already sent copies of everything to the state attorney general. You're not the only one playing this game. She left, but the war was on. My home became an evidence bunker. We submitted everything to the Georgia Attorney General's office: surveillance logs, forged documents, whistleblower files. Within days, investigators were at my door, and the state moved fast. First came arrests at the county records office, people who'd filed the fake deeds. Then came Karen, in handcuffs, walked out of her office on live TV. Suddenly, the narrative shifted. What started as community care was exposed as a years-long scheme to steal land. News stations showed up. Reporters wanted interviews. The AG called it a deliberate multi-year campaign to undermine private property rights through forgery, manipulation, and intimidation. There were more charges: wire fraud, unlawful entry, forgery, abuse of zoning authority. Board members flipped, confirming the existence of a spreadsheet mapping which properties Pine Vale planned to swallow up next. The trial wasn't a victory parade. Karen's lawyers painted me as an anti-establishment troublemaker. They tried to make the HOA look like the last line of defense against chaos. But the evidence was overwhelming. Forensic analysts confirmed the notary stamps were fake, the documents forged, the surveillance illegal. Some footage even included minors, including my own daughter. The jury saw through it. The verdict: guilty on 6 counts for Karen Chaney, guilty for 5 board members, 2 county employees indicted. Pine Vale Estates HOA was dissolved by court order, its bylaws voided, accounts frozen. Community spaces became county property. The empire fell, and for the first time in 2 decades, residents were free. There were apologies, not many, but a few. One woman sent a shaky handwritten letter saying she never believed me until the truth came out. Nolan, the neighbor who warned me first, brought a 6-pack and we sat on the porch, watching the fog. Think it's over? He asked. Legally, yeah. Morally? I shrugged. Probably not. But I wasn't scared anymore. The AG published my case as a statewide example. Law schools started referencing it. Civil liberties groups reached out. I declined the spotlight. I just wanted normal again, quiet evenings, Harper sleeping with her window open, Ava in her garden, me drawing up blueprints for peaceful homes. Every so often, I'd walk the boundary, remembering how close I'd come to losing everything to a bureaucracy with a God complex. Here's what I learned, what I hope you take away. When power is left unchecked, it grows teeth, and it'll bite anyone it thinks is too quiet to fight back. I didn't want a war. I just wanted a fence. But if you ever find yourself staring down the barrel of petty tyranny, remember, justice may move slow, but when it hits, it lands hard. So now, I'll ask you, where's the line between order and overreach? When does community care turn into control? Have you ever fought for your own peace against someone who called it progress? Drop your stories below. Let's talk about where real justice comes from and who's really got your back when the paperwork starts piling up.